We were able to take a bus tour today into Chimney Rock. It still remains closed to tourists, only open to locals because the road to Batcave still remains washed out. Buildings are still unstructurally sound, and while some buildings miraculously looked like they were barely touched, others looked like they may not be recoverable. So we've got WCNC Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich and the Carolina Weather Group's Dan Whitaker outside the 1927 Lake Lure Inn. Brad, I was really impacted as we were on that bus tour today because seeing some of that damage for the first time, going inside this community that still all these months later remains cut off. What was it that struck you the most as you look back on that bus tour?
That tour was pretty eye-opening. I kind of knew what to expect, seeing satellite imagery, drone footage beforehand, but seeing it firsthand, it really was more than I even expected. Plus, knowing that, I'd been to this area so many times, it was almost unrecognizable in parts. And there's been a lot of work. You can tell when you could drive through the town, some of the buildings have been cleaned, they've been completely gutted and rebuilt. But then other parts, it just seems like it's such a long ways away. What really struck me was just the creek and riverbed. The broad riverbed just does not look the same. It was this narrow, babbling river with trees and boulders around it. Now it's this big, gaping, like gravel pit. It just looks unrecognizable from the last time I was here, and really from the times I've been here in the past. And one of the interesting things about doing this bus tour, and I thought this was a great way to do it, is they had business owners on each bus basically narrating the tour, because they were here describing what they saw, what they went through, what's going on. And our tour guide actually kind of broke down a little bit, because as we passed the place where she got married and actually where they had the reception, it was going to be a complete loss, and she broke down briefly talking about that. So I thought that was very humbling, but also it was nice to hear it right from somebody who lives here. And the other thing, my son being with me, he came and he was like, "Dad, I don't even recognize where we're at." He was really like kind of shocked himself, like he couldn't recognize any of these locations. And it does bring me back to the day that the storm, started, and we knew it was going to be bad. Was starting to see some of these images and pictures coming out of the mountains, and you knew how bad it was, basically because of the rain ahead of time. That rain ahead of time really set the stage for this. And just knowing this area around Chimney Rock, the lake, where it's such a narrow canyon, you've got several tributaries going into there. You just know geologically, geographically, that this is a very flash flood prone area. And in the past that something like this likely happened. You just never expect that you're going to see something this historic in real time, firsthand in your lifetime. So those are the things that really struck with me going on the bus tour.